guys, welcome back to Medical Coding with Blue. Today's episode is all about what to do if you are overwhelmed as a medical coding student. If you are brand new to my channel, welcome. I am Blue, I'm a medical coder. Okay guys, so a few days ago, I had a conversation with somebody about this very topic. And a lot of what was being expressed was, Blue, I'm overwhelmed as a medical coding student. I'm just a few weeks into my program, and I heard this about evaluation and management. I heard this about the diagnosis coding. I heard this about CPT. Okay, so here's the thing. A lot of you are making the number one mistake of talking to your peers, right? Your other medical coding students that are in your class, and you're sharing your fears with each other. And that's the hard part, is that everybody's sharing these fears, and you know fear begets fear. So first of all, you got to stop talking to other people, because they don't know. They are students just like you, and they're saying the same things that you're saying. Well, I don't know this. Of course you don't know it. It's new to you, and you are just barely starting to study it yourself. So let's take that off the table. Stop talking to people, especially people that are students like you, or people who are not even in our industry, not even medical coders. Maybe they're a nurse or some other surgical tech or something like that, and they think they know about coding, and yet they're not coders themselves. Stop listening to those people, okay? Those are people that do not have your interests at heart. They are just interested in sharing what they feel they're scared of. And you're catching that fear. You're catching that nervousness, that anxiety. And for what? What is it going to do for you other than to distract you in a time that you should be focusing on your studies, right? So let's stop doing that. Stop listening to other people. If somebody says, oh, E&M is hard. E&M is not hard. E&M is not hard. Evaluation and management is not hard. I don't know how many times I have to say this. It is not hard. What you need to do is get the CPT book and read the guidelines about evaluation and management. Then you're going to look through the different levels, because they have office outpatient visit and all that good stuff. They have it all broken down. What you're going to do is you're going to look through all of that. You don't have to read everything all at once. But what you do need to do is to start to introduce yourself to what is so scary to you. If it is scary to you, you need to meet it head on, which means, I don't understand this. Stop saying that you don't understand it, and actually introduce yourself to it, and actually look at the book, and actually open up the book. Because that a lot of you don't do. You'll sit there and tell me with a straight face how you don't understand. How much time are you putting with it? Well, and then you can't even give me a good answer. So I'm telling you now, this is how you get out of the being overwhelmed, is that you stop listening to people and you start by getting with the book. If evaluation and management is so scary to you, read that section of the CPT book. It's not going to make sense right now. You don't even need it to make sense right now. What you're doing is you're introducing the concepts to your mind, to your brain, and getting the levels in there. Or like, okay, 99202 to 99205, that's for new patients. 99211 to 99215, those for established patients, right? And so that way you can start to, okay, this isn't so scary after all, right? So then you start looking at what the other levels for, like the ER and things like that, because ER is a different set of E&M codes. Critical care is a different set. And so that's the thing that you're going to learn by looking in that part of the book, okay? But that's what it is. So again, you're wasting your time by listening to these little stupid things that you see out there on the internet, Facebook, medical coding groups, TikTok, and all this other stuff, where people think that they know, and they clearly don't know, because they're sharing their fears. Those students that are sharing their fears about how scared they are. Well, don't listen to that, because your brain is going to accept that fear, and it's going to make it worse. Learning medical coding is a lot of fun, and it is very interesting, and it'll keep you engaged. And once you start to understand it, oh, that's when you're really going to start seeing how fun it is. But you're never going to get there if you spend so much time listening to people and their opinions that at the end of the day are not going to matter in your life. It is your business to make sure that you are educating yourself and to make sure that you understand what the heck is going on. You will not understand this overnight. You will not. You will be learning things totally into your career as well. But again, you start off with evaluation and management. You read the guidelines. You look at the table of risk. You start to get into your head what falls under straightforward, what falls under low, what falls under moderate, what falls under high. So that way you can start to understand. You know you need 2 out of those 3 boxes to line up because that's your medical decision making, right? So that's the thing that you start off with there. This is my example with the evaluation and management, because that's the one complaint that I always seem to get from people is how scary evaluation and management is, even though they haven't even gotten to that part in their studies yet. You see how foolish that sounds? And I'm going to call you out for it's a foolish thing to be scared of, because all evaluation and management is cognitive work. It is the provider's cognitive work that you are trying to level out. All of the answers are right there in the document. All you have to do is learn to read it. But again, if you're brand new and you're hearing all of this, it's so scary and I'm scared. You haven't even gotten into it yourself. How do you know if you're going to be scared of it? How do you know that you're not going to understand it? Right? I need you guys to understand this. Evaluation and management is not hard, but you keep talking about it like it is, and it will be for you. Okay? So that's what I recommend, is that you sit down with your books and you start looking at them so that they are less overwhelming. When we educate ourselves, right? Because what is the thing that scares us? Fear. What is fear brought on by? Ignorance, right? Because we don't know. We don't know something. We're ignorant of the subject. But once we start to educate ourselves and really start to understand and see what these things are about, then that's when everything starts to make sense, right? And if you say, well, Blue, I still don't understand evaluation and management. I read through the book. What workbooks? I've said the workbooks many times before, and all of the books that I recommend are in the description box below. The independent study syllabus is not there anymore. Okay, I took it down. I took it down because there's too many people that were complaining and still asking me what books do I recommend when they were all there. So I took it down. But I do need to revamp it, and when it is available, I will let you all know. But for right now, this is what you're going to have to work with. I have some older videos where I explain like some resources on how to find resources for evaluation and management. You can certainly go through my videos. Go to my YouTube page and you can search through the little spyglass. You can search and you can put evaluation and management, and you'll see those videos pop up. Okay, but I don't do the breakdown videos because for whatever reason, y'all do not watch my evaluation and management videos, and that hurts my feelings. So I leave all of that to my Patreons now. I give them evaluation and management scenarios. I have Blue and Friends study hall this week on Thursday. It is at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 6 p.m. Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Patreon channel. And that will be on Thursday this week. Thursday is the 24th. So I'm looking forward to that. You can come in and ask your questions. We speak for about an hour. And if you subscribe to my channel, you can subscribe for 1 month and then cancel. It is totally fine. But you'll have access to lots and lots of quizzes and scenarios that I have posted in videos about myself, and all the fun things that happen over there on my Patreon channel. So, but again, let's get back to what's going on here. When you're overwhelmed, the other thing is there's no organization. You have to get organized. This isn't something that you can just get into and everything's hunky-dory. You have to set a schedule for your 20 hours per week, so that way you have that in front of you, okay? And you know that you need to study for those 3.5 hours per day. 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 30 minutes, 1 hour, and 1 hour. You can do that. You can do that. There's not a single person who doesn't have 3.5 hours per day. And please spare me your story, because Trust me, you don't want to know what my schedule looks like, yet I do make time for things that are important to me. I make time to study. I make time to be here with you all, either in the chat, even though I know this week none of the videos are on Premiere this week because I don't have time and I don't have somebody to moderate for me. So the thing about it is, you all have to understand that you will make time for things that are important to you. You need to get organized. You need to set that 3.5 hours per day for 5 days. That's 17.5 hours that you've managed to squirrel in of study during the week. And then on the weekend, you have 2.5 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. And you can do whatever it is that you want after that. You don't even have to continue to study after that. And then until you start again on the next week. Okay, so it is very easy to hit. If you're interested, I have the study trackers in the description box below. They're like $5, but you can make your own. Okay, it's just a piece of paper. It's downloadable paper that you can downloadable PDF that you can use to print out, and then you color in every time you do your 30 minutes or your 60 minutes. So that way you have a visual. You can hang it up somewhere. You can buy mine. You can make your own. It's entirely up to you. Okay. But the whole goal is to get 80 hours in of study per month. Okay. That's not a big sacrifice for your future. Okay. It is not a big sacrifice for your future. And this is how you learn. It's not about like barely putting in the time and still complaining that you don't understand. You have to put in the time. You have to put in the time. If you're barely putting in 10 hours per week, that's the problem. You say, oh, well, I'm doing a couple of hours a day. Then you're not committed enough. 3.5 hours is the minimum that you need to be studying per day for 5 days. And then again, you have the 2.5 hours on a Saturday or Sunday. I tell people you can do 4 hours a day if you want to, but people get overwhelmed at that. 3.5 just sounds better, so, okay, whatever, but it's going to help you to build discipline, okay? Because you have to have discipline when you're in this field. That's the only way you're going to be able to understand. And, again, there's a lot of joy and there's a lot of fun in it, but all of that can get sucked away if you're wasting your time in these Facebook medical coding groups, which are no good. Yes, I have a Facebook medical coding group. There's not a whole lot that goes on over there because I did it for y'all, and for y'all to have a place to talk, but y'all don't use it, so whatever. I did it for y'all, but whatever. Those Facebook groups don't do anything but discourage you. And please spare me your, oh no, my group is really good. Then you're the exception and not the rule. There's the majority of them that are not good, and you know it. Okay, you know it. And so, again, I want you guys to be set up for success. And there's too many people running around feeling sorry for themselves. I had a fella a couple days ago who was sending me those little crying emojis because he didn't understand what to do, even though in the video it talks about like the breakdown of how to study and do independent study and that kind of thing. Still didn't understand what to do and left the crying faces. I told him to stop crying. It's not a game, guys, and I'm not here to play with anybody. I'm here to say this is what you have to do. Okay, here's all of the things. All you have to do is just show up and do it. It's that simple. Work through your workbook. Where do I start in the workbook? You open up to the first page. You go to the first chapter. You start working through the questions. You read, and then you go through the questions. Or you can do what I used to do in school, which is whenever you start a chapter, you look at the questions first because that's what they're going to ask you. Then you read the chapter. You go back and you read the chapter, but you start at the end first. You start with the questions, you read the questions, and then you start into the chapter. And so then when you are asked, then okay, this is what I was looking for, because your brain is going to be on high alert. Your brain is going to say, okay, wait a minute, we know about this because it was asking us about this. You may not remember all of the questions, but your brain is going to start to notice what you're doing, okay? And then, as I tell you all, you have to start training yourself not to be using multiple choice with these workbooks. So what you're going to do is you're going to get like a little sticky notepad, right? Sticky notepad, see mine, purple? But you use it and you cover up the answers. You cover up the multiple choice. And so then that way you just have the questions. So that way you're not getting so dependent and getting that false sense of confidence looking at multiple choice answers and learning how to do process of elimination when you're studying. I'm telling you all, a lot of people ask me, well, Blue, how come you don't have your own school? Y'all are not ready for me to have my own school. Y'all are not ready. Why? Because y'all would be some of the most best trained coders. Because these are the things that I do. And I've been a student for, I've been a coder for 17 years. Right? So, and when you add on the time from the school that I had, really, you know, so, but I've been, let's just say the truth. I've been a student for 17 years. I've been a student for 17 years. Studying is a part of my life, is what I do. It's what I enjoy. If you don't like to study, sometimes in high school, it'll kind of like be like, I don't like it because, you know, I hated school and high school was the worst. You know, high school was very difficult for a lot of people, okay? But the thing about it is, being an adult student is something different. And usually, adult students are there because they want to be there. Sometimes it's because they're in a program and they're telling them that they need to be there. But for the most part, you have people who are in these courses and things like that are learning because they want to do something different, okay? If you're in that boat, all right, this is what you have to do to keep yourself focused. Pay attention to yourself. Don't worry about these other people and their ability to understand or what their fears are, or like the fact that they don't understand evaluation and management. That's on them. That's on them. Or the fact that they're getting really confident because they're using process of elimination. And you know, but they really don't understand the concepts of coding. Because if you ask them a question about coding, they still don't kind of understand, but they need that multiple choice. Well, the real world is not multiple choice. And it's really sad that there's a lot of these schools out there that they use that. They use a multiple choice and they don't promote that critical thinking. I promote critical thinking here. I promote critical thinking. I promote the long way, okay? I am not about shortcuts, right? There's another YouTuber that I watch, Rick, on his channel, Think Like a Horse. Has nothing to do with coding. And Rick is just a good old Texan. That's all he is. Well, he's not even from Texas, you know, but he, you know, trained dogs in the military, and, you know, he used to be a cop out in California. And the thing about it is, you know, with Rick, he's an instructor for adults. And he says the slow way is the fast way. If people learn slowly and they get that good foundation, they will be fast in the long run. If you are getting overwhelmed because you're trying to learn things quickly and you think, oh yeah, you know, I can learn it quickly. No one's going to judge you for taking a little bit longer to learn. No one will judge you who has any sense in their head for taking a little bit longer to learn. Because we have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. We have to know what doctors know while never having gone to medical school. I didn't tell you that to freak you out, although some of you are not listening to me anymore because, oh my God, I didn't know it. Yes, okay. I had no medical background when I got in. Just a desire to learn. And I read. And if that's you, you can do this too. Oh, Blue, I only have a high school diploma. Or Blue, I only have a GED. Do you think that matters? You think there's not successful coders who only have a high school diploma or who only have a GED and their certification? They're able to do it. So why can't you? Oh no, Blue, I stayed at home with the kids for 15 years and I haven't worked in 15 years. No one's going to hire me. With that attitude, no. But if you're like my other people on my channel who are stay-at-home parents and who stayed at home for many years and they listened to me, they weren't sure, but they listened because you can see it's not a hidden secret how much I love what I do. It's not a hidden secret how much I care about people many of us will never ever meet. But do you know I care about you? I care about you because you want to get into this field. And you stumbled on my videos. Everybody stumbles. Oh, I stumbled onto your videos. You stumbled onto my videos and now you're watching and you're thinking, gosh, this lady. But here's the thing. I care about you enough to tell you the truth. That this is the way that you have to learn, because this is the way that you're going to learn. I'm not here about these gimmicks. You'll never see me on TikTok. Somebody asked me the other day, "Oh, what's your TikTok?" I'm not on TikTok. I'm not contributing to the shortened attention span of adults, which is dangerous, because if the shorter your attention span becomes, the more you're willing to accept whatever's put in front of you without actually thinking it through. Didn't think about that, did you? That's why I won't go there. I'll be here on YouTube with my 46,000 plus organic subscribers that I did not have to pay 1 red cent for. And if you have subscribed, thank you, because we recently hit 46,000, so I really appreciate that. But the thing you have to know is this, guys. No one is coming to save you but you. So that means that we got to stop paying attention to these useless, overwhelmed feelings. We need to start sitting with the book and actually opening up the book and actually exploring the book, looking at all of the terms, looking at all of the words. I'm going to be doing a video, hopefully y'all watch, because again, when it comes to like the video demonstrations that I do, y'all just but I'm going to do it anyway. I hope y'all will watch, okay? I would really appreciate that. That would help me out. But I'm going to show you some things in the book so that way you guys can start seeing how useful it is and how the answers are literally all there. How people get overwhelmed when they look at these books because there's so much. And then there's people that encourage adding stuff to it, writing, tabbing, highlighting. If you're doing that, you know you're putting training wheels on reference books. Now, you can write, tab, highlight, do whatever the heck it is you want to your workbooks, but not your reference books, not your ICD-10-CM, not your ICD-10-PCS if you're using that one, not your CPT book, not your HCPCS book. It does not need you to add anything to it. These books are written by doctors and scholars, smarter than you, smarter than me. What do you have that you're going to write in there that is going to make the book any better? Because I guarantee you, whatever it is that you're writing in there is probably already in there. You're just not looking at it. You're just following the advice of somebody who's saying, oh, you need to do this. No, you don't. You absolutely do not. Do you see my books back here? Not a single one of them has a tab on it. Not a single one of them is even written in. I come from the old school, okay, where you did not write in your books, because back in the day, you did not write in your books at all, because if you did, then you weren't allowed into the test center. And they didn't allow for tabs either. Now they allow for tabs if the tabs came with the book. So with the CPT book, it comes with its own set of tabs. If you put them on there and you're working with the book like you're supposed to be for those 80 hours, you're going to tear up your pages. And guess what? You can't use the tape to fix it either, because you're not allowed to have tape in your books when you take the test. You're not allowed to have tape. You're not allowed to have homemade tabs. And you know, people are still foolish enough to try to argue with me about it. It's literally on the candidate hand guide on the AHEMA website if you're taking an AHEMA exam. And even if you're taking a CPC exam, I still recommend that y'all don't write anything in those books. But, you know, again, I'm not here to overwhelm you. There's plenty of information already in those books. So I see some of this writing in some of these books and all this tabbing and highlighting, all this other garbage all over it. You can't even see the actual codes anymore. You can't even see the actual codes. So it's just like, are you serious? Why don't you spend time with your book? Because doing all of that, you're wasting time, because you could have been looking up codes and practicing with your book at that time too, instead of doing all that. I know what I'm telling y'all. And again, I'm not here to sell you anything as far as credentials go. Yes, I have services. Yes, I have Patreon. But that's something that's different. That's not destroying your books in the name of, oh, it's going to help you. No, it's absolutely not. What is going to help you is by actually sitting with the book and going through the book. And if you're telling me, oh, Blue, I'm still overwhelmed, I don't know where to start. Where is your workbook? Why can't you start at chapter 1? Look at the questions first. Cover up the multiple choice. Go read through the chapter and answer the questions. Go on to chapter 2. Same thing. Look at the questions and cover up the answers. Go into the chapter, read it, answer the questions, go on to the 3rd chapter. And you do that all the way through the book. Well, do I work on 2 books at a time, or do I work on 1 workbook at a time? If you absolutely want to work on 1 workbook at a time because you feel like that would be better for you, by all means, you do that. But you have to start. You have to start. You have to work through the book, starting with chapter 1. And don't let me giving you this advice insult you. Some people are actually asking me legitimately, I don't know where to start. So I'm legitimately telling you this is where you start. If you already know medical terminology and anatomy and pathophysiology because you're a nurse and you're coming over, by all means, skip that. If you want to go through a refresher, go to the public library, get a free workbook that you could check out and work through that. It's not going to hurt you, right? It's going to help you to recall some of your anatomy, because some of my nurses, y'all forget anatomy too. There was that one nurse on that I seen on Instagram giggling because she confused perineum and perineal. How you confuse the two, I don't know, but she did. Thinking it's funny. It's not funny. I don't find that humorous. I don't find that humorous. I think it's stupid. I think it's stupid, especially if you're a medical professional. Okay? But if you need to get the refresher on that medical terminology, anatomy, and pathophysiology, then by all means, you just get the workbook. Again, start with chapter 1. And then you work through that. You looked at the questions first, cover up the answers, read the chapter, and then you answer the questions. If you don't get it, then you know, okay, this is where I got to put a pin in this chapter, put a bookmark there, so that way you can come back to it. You don't have to run through the chapter again. You can go ahead and go on to the next chapter, but bookmark anything that you know that you didn't do well on when you took the end of the chapter test, and so that way you can work through that later on. Because sometimes that's what it takes, like a second run at it, then it'll make sense. But again, if you're trying to force yourself to race through these programs, or you think that it's embarrassing that you can't get through it in like 4 months, you can't learn it in 4 months, you're setting yourself up to fail. And that's unfortunate, because that's why a lot of these employers don't want to hire brand new coders, because a lot of them come out of these schools not knowing a single freaking thing. Can't even do basic coding, because they were only taught how to use multiple choice. They were only taught how to do things in a hurry, because they were cattle herded through this stupid school that was sending them through. Oh yeah, we can do this. And yeah, I do say it's stupid, because it is stupid. Why would you go through something so quickly like that? It's a brand new field to you. Why would you do that? 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months is what you need to learn. Even if you are a nurse, I don't care. You still need 9 months, 12 months, or 18 months. And if you feel challenged and you say, oh no, I'm going to make it through, then you go right ahead. I hope you don't struggle. I hope you don't. Okay? But anyway, that's my advice. Stop listening. If you are overwhelmed, stop listening to other people, especially those that are not coders, or especially those that are still in medical coding school with you. Stop listening to them. Focus on yourself and what you are learning. Don't go bragging to everybody. Oh, I did this and I did this. There are some people that are not going to see your vision. They're not going to understand. They're going to come up with their, oh, well, no, it's going away and blah, blah, blah. Really? They were saying that 17 years ago when I started. I'm 17 years into this field, talking to you guys with my channel with 46,000 organic subscribers. Really? If I had listened, if I had been one of those stupid people that was just listening to everybody, oh, you're right. Right about what? You're not even in my industry. Why would I listen to you? Why would I even listen to you? That's the attitude you need to adopt. If they are not in our industry, or if they're still a student, they're still learning themselves, or they're letting other people get in their head. Because you have to remember that other adults have other adults in their environment, in their home environment, and some of them may not be supportive. Some people who have partners are not supportive because they don't see the vision, or because they know that this is something that this person could really enjoy, but they're going to be around other successful people and they may end up leaving them, which is stupid, but there's some people that think that. So they're going to do everything they can to discourage that person, to make that person feel bad and beat them down with, oh, their dream is not going to come true. It's up to you guys. This is what you want to do, then you'll do it. You will pay attention to what you're doing. You will stay focused. And if you can't stay focused for 30 minutes or 1 hour at a time doing your work, your schoolwork, there's something wrong. You need to get more disciplined than that. This is my advice anyway. So with that said, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this one up. Guys, stay motivated. Stay motivated. There's plenty of videos on my channel where I'm giving y'all the real talk about all of this stuff. So I want y'all to take the time and look through those videos. So that way that'll help you. And that's my advice anyway. So with that said, I'm going to wrap this one up. Thank you guys so much for joining me. If this video helped you, please like, subscribe, and share. And I'll see y'all next time. Bye.